Chris. We are 6 episodes in here in Cartridge and Quarters. Thank you, by the way, for everybody joining us here, either on audio or video. I think we have a conspiracy among us. I'm just going to say it. Look, we joke that this podcast is really just a Bash Square podcast, and we do mean that. It's just a joke. But every time we mention that joke, Square seems to respond with something. So I'm starting to think we have a mole. Like, somebody from the company is either watching or working among us, and I don't think it's either the two of us. So I have a really good question to ask Kaylan on Pixel Play on Tuesday when we record. So, because I think we might have something going on here.
I think it might be Kaylan. I'm pretty sure he actually works for Square and can make very big business decisions and helps give us content. It must be what's going on.
Well, at the very least, if that's the case, can we get like some free copies while we're at it too? Like, damn.
Yes, I think that I would like one of everything, especially Triangle Strategy on Switch. I've heard good things.
Maybe not games, because I have pretty much all the ones I want, and I don't own a Switch. I'll take some swag. There's that Tifa statue going around that's in the Jacko pose from Guilty Gear that everybody's like going after. Sure, I'll take that. Fine, why not? I'll put it on the wall next to Tharja from Fire Emblem over there, kind of sticking her butt out there a little bit. So it works. They match together really well.
It's a genius move. I think that we should get that statue. Everybody should get that statue.
All right, well, you want to chip in the $500+ it's going to cost us?
That's it on sale? I think it's higher than that normally.
Yeah, I think it's normally like $700 something bucks. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not enough of a weeb to do that.
No, I'll just draw it if I need it or Google a JPEG online.
Funny story about that Tharja thing. That thing's normally like $150, $200, and I got it like secondhand for like $50.
Wow, that's a pretty good deal. It's a lot less than $700.
Back in those days when I was still interested in figurines, and then after getting like 20 of them, looking at my wall and going, I can't do anything with this other than look at them. Why did I just spend like a total of probably $500 on these?
Hobbies.
And then there's probably a lot of people that are like, wait, you only spent $500 on figurines?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. I imagine that's what it's like if you have a friend who's really into Magic cards and it's like, oh, I've spent like $400 on this. And they're like, only $400 on this? 100% that's what it is.
Yeah. We've said it before on the show. I'm not much of a collector, and thank God for that, because Lord knows how much money I'd be in the hole on if I actually cared about collecting old school stuff. I don't even know where I'd put it, too. That's the other thing, too.
That's tough, because even like if you have a bookshelf like I've got over here, it fills up quick. So like I guess you can just put it on multiple bookshelves if you don't mind a whole wall being just your stuff that you can look at.
Well, you see like all the YouTubers that have like a massive like bunch of shelves with all like box games in there, and you're like, yeah, that's probably literally the entire room is that.
Oh yeah, that's all it is.
That's a lot of money, which is why they're YouTubers and famous ones at that, and they can afford the tens of thousands of dollars they probably spent to put that thing together.
Yeah, or you're just a lucky person that every game you've ever bought in your life, you only went physical and you kept everything.
Or you were just that lucky son of a bitch that goes to like random garage sales on a whim, and there ends up being like this massive thing that you can get for like $30, and it ends up being like 20 games, and you're like, well, that can go right on the shelf.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's got to be a lot of like garage sales and stuff for sure in there.
Well, for lack of a better segue, to go from putting things on the shelf, we're going to go to kicking things to the curb, because that's what Square did to a few of their studios as they sold them off to Embracer Group. So this is the official statement from them. I'm only going to give the first paragraph, because if I spend the entire thing, we're going to be here for an hour. Embracer Group has entered into an agreement to acquire the development studios Crystal Dynamics, that being the people who do Tomb Raider is the big one that people know of. Eidos Montreal, or Eidos, I can't remember what the two is. But Eidos Montreal, who do things like Deus Ex, and then Square Enix Montreal, which I think do mostly like the Hitman and like Lara Croft like Go games.
I think
they have more of a mobile presence, I believe.
Yeah. They already sold off Hitman a year or two ago. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they did more like the Go mobile style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they acquired those 3 companies and a catalog of IPs, including Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, Legacy of Kain, and more than 50 back catalog games from Square Enix Holdings Company Ltd. In total, the acquisition includes 1,100 employees across 3 studios and 8 global locations. The total purchase price amounts to USD $300 million on a cash and debt-free basis to be paid in full at closing. Embracer has secured additional long-term debt funding commitments for this and other transactions in the pipeline. The company today reiterates its current operational EBIT forecast. This is, okay, we're in speak that I have no idea, so I am skipping the rest of that.
No idea what just happened.
That just sounds like we spent money and we might make money, and that's about as much as I got out of that sentence. But the more important thing is Square said screw you to a lot of their Western development. Now, they have kept some stuff. People Can Fly that do Outriders, Don't Nod that does Life is Strange. There are things they've kept, but a large chunk of it, including, they didn't list it in this thing, but including the Marvel games, have been brought away. Now, those specific games don't really mean much to this show. But when you have names like Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, Legacy of Kain, you start talking about games that you're sitting there being like, ooh. Kaylan and I were saying on the Wednesday show what a Deus Ex remake could mean, because a lot of people have not played the original. Tomb Raider could be in a similar situation. Thief at one point used to be a legendary PC game.
Oh, yeah.
And it was tried to revive and didn't do very well from what I remember. And Legacy of Kain, I don't remember at all.
Legacy of Kain, it's been a long time. And when this came out, that was actually one of the things that was like one of my takeaways was, oh my God, Legacy of Kain. I didn't even realize that Square had the rights to that. Because nobody's made one since, I think, PS1. There might be a PS2 game, but I'm pretty sure it's PS1.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while.
Like, it's been a while.
I'm assuming, too, because Crystal Dynamics has been sold off, that the new Perfect Dark game is now going to be a part of whatever Embracer's doing. I know the initiative is the studio, but Crystal Dynamics was also working on it. So
yes.
So there's
they were helping out Microsoft with the Perfect Dark game.
So I'm scrolling down a little bit. So here's some of the other things that we'll start with Crystal Dynamics. You have Project Snowblind, which is PS2. You had Whiplash, Blood Omen, Soul Reaver.
Yep.
Even Gex, which has been a long time. Pandemonium, which I do remember. Blazing Dragon sounds familiar. No, that's not what I thought it was. No, that's a Fire Emblem game, but it's not a thing there. So that's Crystal Dynamics. So Eidos, as I completely misspelled in Google, go me, you know, that really amazing typing skills that I have here. So Eidos Montreal is literally been only around since 2011. So they've only done the Deus Ex games. They've done Thief and Guardians of the Galaxy. So they're just the people that kind of brought Deus Ex back, really. So they're more of just a studio that's going to probably work on the next things. But I mean, they do have the Deus Ex license essentially. So there's that.
Those again were like legendary PC games back in the day before they came back with Mankind. No, not Mankind Divided.
Human
Revolution. Yeah, when they came back with that, and so they kind of rebooted it, and I actually enjoyed that franchise. But I mean, another like retro epic PC game back in the day, Deus Ex, and its many sequels that I can't even remember the name for.
And yeah, we were right about Square Enix Montreal. So they've done Hitman Go, Hitman Sniper, Lara Croft Go, Deus Ex Go. Apparently there was a game called Hitman Sniper: The Shadows. Didn't know about that. And apparently they were working on an untitled Space Invaders game, according to Wikipedia.
Interesting.
So
Space Invaders Go. I'm gonna go out on a limb here.
I mean, it seems like a decent setup for what they have. You got a pretty good chunk of licensing. You have what honestly has been a very, very good mobile developer, because if anybody's played the Go games, they're actually really solid.
They're really good games. I actually really enjoy them because they're kind of like, it looks like it's in an action game, but it's like clearly much more a puzzle type of game, which really works in an on-the-go kind of platform. Like I could play that on my phone. I played it off of Steam, I believe, but still, I'd play that on a phone or a tablet or a Switch or Steam Deck or whatever the heck it might be.
Yeah, I mean, given what it is from that point, like it doesn't seem like much. Like when you look at footage of the gameplay of these games, like you don't think that much about them, but like a lot of really smart work was put into them.
Oh yeah.
They're actually really clever, and I'd love to see more games kind of do something similar to that. And I'm sure there probably are some that are, but they haven't nearly been as advertised as we say with other ones. So
Yeah, true. I mean, now that they'd be going over to Embracer, who knows? Maybe we'll get one of their other properties. There's so many like Darksiders or whatever.
Well,
I think they have
Perfect
like
Dark would be a
their
fantastic thing to do with this.
yeah, that'd be really cool.
It will give, given how Perfect Dark since the original has not been that great. It feels like it would have the potential to be the second good Perfect Dark game that's ever been released after what 20 something years.
Yeah, for sure. Oh,
But like
Perfect
for
Dark.
you, like what stands out the most of things that you could see like a potential of coming back? Because Embracer has said also in a follow up that they're very interested in bringing some older franchises back to give them a fresh new start.
Yeah, for me, honestly, I think it would be Legacy of Kain. And it's not like I have this huge like affinity for the original games. Like they were fun, but I haven't even had an urge to really go back and play them too much. But I did enjoy that series, and because it would be something fresh to go back to after so long, I'm a sucker for where something's been gone for like 20 years, and then they're like, hey, we're gonna do another one. It catches my interest quite a lot. So that I would say is my number one that I would want to see for sure.
I mean, obviously, too, like I was mentioning earlier, you now have the potential that Embracer is going to look at some of the licenses they picked up, and obviously Deus Ex and Tomb Raider are the two really big ones here.
Oh yeah,
and the potential of remaking some of those originals, because, like I said, I've never played the original. Human Revolution was my first Deus Ex. Tomb Raider I never played because I didn't own a PlayStation, and by the time I had a PS2, I was a JRPG guy, so Tomb Raider wasn't even in my thought process. I think the first Tomb Raider I actually ever played was Angel of Darkness, which poor me.
yeah, that was poor you.
It wasn't great. That was right at PS2 is a weird era for a lot of franchises. Some franchises thrived there, and then some went to nearly die. Tomb Raider was one of them. Mortal Kombat was definitely one of them.
Yeah, iconic franchises went to die on the PS2.
Because like you had Angel of Darkness thing, there was Tomb Raider Legend as well that didn't do very well. I think there's one more in there that I can't remember.
There was a third one. What the heck was it called?
It wasn't until we had like obviously the complete rebranding. I mean, there was the what was that like multiplayer game that came out I think before it?
The Temple of Osiris or whatever?
I think so.
You thinking that one? They had two games actually, I think, that came out. Guardians of Light might have been another one. Guardian of Light.
It does sound familiar. Yeah. I never played either of them, so I wouldn't 100% know. The Temple of Osiris one does sound right.
Yeah, they were very much like multiplayer gauntlet games, like old school, just top down. Like there's four of you on the screen. You've each got a different weapon and power, and let's go at it.
Yeah, I mean, like in terms of other stuff though, like it's hard to say because I mean, do we need new Gex material? Like, I think really like we're focusing on the main ones that we listed. Obviously, Deus Ex, Tomb Raider, Thief, Legacy of Kain. I think those are the ones that you'd see the biggest focus on. In terms of like retro era gaming, I think that's probably where it ends. You can get into more of a conversation like with present day gaming and things of like Marvel and other things like that, but that's not really what we're here for. What I really want to point out, though, is that it really does shine a light on how, and it's been noticeable for a long time, but I really do feel like Square's kind of lucked into a lot of success, and then whenever they do have some, they don't seem to know what to do with it. Because I mean, look, we said this is always going to be forever known as the joking like Bash Square podcast, but like both me and Chris, I'm not going to speak 100% for Chris, but I'm sure he'll agree with most of what I have to say here. Square, I think, genuinely doesn't love what they got famous on anymore. So they just try to do everything else to spite their fan base.
Yeah.
Because if you don't count things like, I think the 4 Guardians of Light or whatever, like a DS game, there has not been a traditional turn-based Final Fantasy since 2001 with 10.
Yeah, there hasn't.
They've
done turn-based, just not with Final Fantasy.
Yeah, like you have things like Bravely Default. Was I Am Setsuna more like a Secret of Mana or a Chrono Trigger type?
It was supposed to be like Chrono Trigger, and I saw, like I played through and beat that. It felt like they were definitely inspired by it, but it did not hit the mark as much as they probably wanted because of set design choices and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was definitely them, instead of doing a full Chrono game, doing some side Chrono inspired game.
Yeah, I mean,
which made no sense.
It just overly feels like that for a company that a lot, like especially if you are a JRPG guy, like that was the thing growing up. Like there really wasn't much else. I mean, there was Breath of Fire, there were other games, but Square was the guy. From
you saw Squaresoft, you were like, whoa.
Yeah, from essentially like Super Nintendo onward to like Super Nintendo to PS2 was Squaresoft, Square Enix. Like that was their thing. You didn't touch them on their quality level. And then as soon as we got into the PS3 era, I mean, we already started seeing the signs with 12, because 12, it's not terrible, but it also starts leaning in a direction that I think a lot of gamers started getting worried about.
Yeah. Would have been fine if it was a one-off different game and then they went back. It'd be like, oh yeah, that's the like, it's the Black Sheep. It's a little different, but it's still
Well, it was almost like playing a single-player 11 at that time, right? Like it played almost similar to what an MMO plays like.
Yes, it very much. And it would have been good if it was just a one-off, but it clearly, looking back, you see it. That was the start of the downfall.
Yeah, because like we're not going to say the turn-based RPGs are the most like intense. They're not exactly known for being like super easy to like get lost in, but they also require some amount of finesse. Whereas 12, sure, you could set up gambits and get like a decent like setup going, but you're still watching. You're not really inputting as much. And then 13 was like, hey, you want to watch a Final Fantasy movie for 50 hours? And we're like, not particularly.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 13 was a management sim. You would just choose all your jobs and switch between which management you want them to be doing. You were just telling them, I mean, in turn-based, I get it. You're telling what characters are doing, but it's not just like, all right, do whatever you're going to do by yourself, and I'll just choose your roles and switch between them.
Yeah, like they do what a lot of games will generally do in JRPGs nowadays. Like they'll have it that sometimes, like Persona's a big example of this. Persona, generally speaking, starts off the game with you just control you and your party members will auto. But you can turn that off and do it separately on your own, which most people do because you can control what spells go off so your characters don't run out of MP within 2 battles.
Yeah.
So they did that and was able to turn that option off so you could go back to full control. Square was like, no. You are not even going to get to participate in anything. Like you get to choose how to start the battle, and then after that, you just watch.
Yeah.
So there is definitely a frustration with Square, which also lends credence to like the rumors going around that maybe Sony's been looking at acquiring them.
And I hate to say it, but I almost hope that happens. Even though I feel like there's a lot of acquisitions, I think one, it would make the most sense with Sony. Let's be honest. Final Fantasy going to Xbox would be confusing.
Well, it almost seems like it would be unthinkable, especially now with these Western properties going on, because for some people that don't know, Japan generally doesn't like to associate outside of its bubble. So if Japan was ever going to get sold off, I think Microsoft is the least likely. Also, for those who don't know, Microsoft doesn't do very well in Japan. I think the biggest year they ever had was 7% of console ownership, and I think that was the 360. And we all know how great the 360 sold. So if it sold 3 or 7% of all consoles in Japan in that era, not great. So the likelihood of Microsoft ever getting them was rare. So you knew it was either going to be Sony or Nintendo if it was going to be in that scenario.
Oh, for sure.
And quite frankly, I don't think Nintendo's got the money to do it.
No, and I don't, even if they did, I feel like Nintendo wouldn't make much sense. They're great for the like Octopath Traveler, Triangle Strategy, like the old retro style games. Even I Am Setsuna, I'm sure, would have been great and everything on there. But you can't do Final Fantasy 16 on a Nintendo Switch. You can't.
I mean, you could. You would just be more like Dragon Quest now.
True. Or it'll look like MLB The Show 22 and run at 14p.
Well, I mean, the only way Square would ever work in Nintendo is they'd have to say, okay, we got to stop being realistic with our graphics, which Square will never do because I'm pretty sure they get off on
they have a massive
their trailers.
For their trailers and their graphics.
I mean, if you can look no further than that, like that test project, like cutscene they did that ended up turning into what Forspoken is. But that thing was 10 years ago. So they showed up to an E3 with a graphic trailer. That was it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't for a game. It was just to show, hey, look how cool our graphics look.
Yeah. It's like, what can we make this graphics card do?
So Square is clearly not going to work very well on a Switch. So when you really do think about it, it only makes sense to go with Sony. And without thinking too far outside of that, it's more in the sense of what works here on the show, which is would that mean if somebody was now overseeing Square as a part of Sony and bringing them in as like a first party studio? Well, not studio, but essentially like a company where they'd split them off into studios and do whatever they want with that. You could obviously see a case where things could get brought back.
Yeah.
Like a Chrono.
Yeah, like a Chrono, like
or
an
like
old school
like
Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, as much as I don't want to assume it's going to happen, but like you said, I'm very hopeful for that. And also, it's kind of understated, but when you sell off a bunch of properties, that's generally something you do to make your books look really good for a potential sale.
Yeah.
So you can ratchet up the price.
Yeah. They were looking to lose a bit, maybe, or whatever. They didn't really care about selling Tomb Raider and whatnot. They didn't really care about it. They're like, get rid of that. Our books look even better. Now the main sale will get an even better price.
Yeah, and when you think about some of the things that they could have, like, even outside of the old school stuff, I mean, you take in what's currently going, like we mentioned earlier, Square still has things like Life is Strange. They still have Outriders. And by the way, Outriders would be an interesting thing for them to have because they have Bungie. So you have Bungie, who is like the guys that make Destiny. Outriders was meant to be a third-person Destiny clone. Now you could just be like, all right, well, you guys are working with us now, so here, you guys all kind of work together and see how you can like make these into like our two big live service games that just run the gamut on everything.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, especially since Sony was talking about doing a few live service games on the console coming up. I could see this being included in that, and that would actually be even better, because then it's an already existing IP that they're just going to improve instead of just throwing out another IP randomly onto Sony, right?
Yeah, but more importantly, we all know what we really want, which is a third Chrono game. That's really the big thing here.
100%.
I mean, there's also like, I'd have to pull up a list of all the Square games, which will take me forever because there's so goddamn many of them. But like, there are other things that could come back. Like, there are games they're still running. Like Dragon Quest is obviously still really popular, so you know that would do well, and that is a king in Japan. Like, I think you can agree with me too. The newest Dragon Quest is not like anything new. Like, it really is like a 1980s JRPG just with present day like anime-ish graphics.
Yeah, and that's why I loved it.
Yeah,
it was like a return. It was like comfort food the whole time.
But like here's a couple of things that like would be very interesting to see brought back into like full on like imagine this as a Sony first party game where like they put a good amount of budget behind it. Imagine a proper front mission game again.
Oh yeah. Imagine that. Oh, and like a Sony exclusive, that would help.
There's also things like Drakengard, which is a great hack and slash series. Like PS2 era, the original was actually really good, but it was very underrated. I think a lot of people really, really kind of slept on that one.
Oh yeah.
But obviously you do have all the Final Fantasy games. Star Ocean, I think, really needs a refresh because Star Ocean has not had a good... Like, in my opinion, Star Ocean has not been good. Probably, you can make maybe a case for Last Hope on Xbox, but I think it's really since Till the End of Time in PS2. Star Ocean has had a real struggle.
Yeah, Till the End of Time was definitely the last one where I played it, and I was like, all right, this is the shit.
Well, we know Kingdom Hearts is doing its thing. You know, we'll see how that goes. It's amazing to hear that Kingdom Hearts is getting a new game like immediately, and it's not like 7,000 other off-brand games before they get to the next one.
Yeah.
Tactics Ogre could make a comeback. Also, Final Fantasy Tactics, for that matter.
That's Tactics Advance.
And I'm trying to think because now I'm into all the newer stuff. So I'd have to go back to the bottom of the list.
What about Parasite Eve? That was Square, wasn't it?
Yes, actually. Now I understand when I'm looking at Square Enix. I'm technically only in the Square Enix list and not the Square Enix list yet. So that's why I'm like, I know there's more I'm missing, and because I'm still in that point. All right, now we get to the crazy list. I'm going to start with Enix first because I think a lot of people don't know some of the stuff that they did.
Yeah, for sure.
So as I go here, Grandia, obviously.
Oh yeah, I'm playing through that HD remaster right now. It's beautiful.
Valkyrie Profile, which is getting a comeback, but the new game that they showed the trailer of looked pretty PS3, so that's not a great sign. No. As I keep scrolling here, Bust a Groove. Sure, why not?
I forgot about that.
Illusion of Gaia or Gaia. That's an oldie.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting one.
What was that trilogy called? There's I can't remember. Either way, yep.
What else here? That's for the most part. Because, like I said, I see Dragon Quest, I see Star Ocean. As I keep scrolling a little bit. I mean, you have ActRaiser, you have Soul Blazer, but for the most part, like Star Ocean and Dragon Quest were always the big ones with Enix, or Dragon Warrior at the beginning, but
yeah.
And then if we get to Square, oh god, they've been going since 1984. I didn't realize it was that far back.
Oh well, yeah.
Let's see here. So you got Final Fantasy, obviously. Secret of Mana, they've been still doing, but they've been mostly remaking. Because with the most recent one was a remake of, I believe, the third Seiken Densetsu.
I think, I think it was the third. Yeah, there's so many different releases, and then they released like an updated version, and then they released like the retro version, but like only on Switch or something. Like it's been very interesting the way that they're all over the place with that.
Yeah, for sure. I actually didn't know this. Apparently, they worked with Capcom on the original Breath of Fire. I did not know that.
Oh, wait. I think I did know that. I'm pretty sure I started up the game on Switch because it's on the Switch Online, and I'm pretty sure I saw Square's name in there, and I was like, "What?"
Now, that's obviously, that's a Capcom thing, but by the way, Capcom, can we get a Breath of Fire 5, please?
I would love that. My goodness, I would love that.
We obviously had the Live Alive finally coming to Western audiences with the remake thing that they're doing. Bahamut Lagoon, very underrated from the CSRadical
Very
days.
underrated, yeah.
Super Mario freaking RPG, but that would be only on Switch. But hey, I think even as a guy who doesn't own a Switch, I'd be like, hey Chris, can I like borrow your Switch for like 2 weeks and just get through this thing?
That would be probably the biggest game release I can think of that comes so close to being like Chrono.
I know they technically exist sort of for the longest time because there was the Superstar Saga games, but like, or Paper Mario, but let's be honest, it's not the same.
No, it's not the same.
It wasn't done. It wasn't being worked on by Square. You didn't have Nobuo Uematsu doing part of the music. Did Nobuo do the soundtrack in that game? I don't remember.
I think he did part of it. I don't think he did the whole thing.
No, I think it was Yoko Shimomura. I think it was. I think it was. Yeah, the Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
I think that's correct. Let's see here. What else? Do we have anything else? Vagrant Story. I never played those, but I heard good things about that. You know what? This is. I don't know if you enjoyed this game, but I love this game. It was like the first Square game on PS2. I would love for them to remake The Bouncer.
I was about to say, you're about to say The Bouncer, aren't you? I remember my friend got a launch day PS2, and the first game he picked up was The Bouncer. And it was like, obviously memes didn't exist then, but it was like the perfect meme game. Like
if that game came out today and retained the dialogue, that would be a YouTube worthy meme game. 100%.
Sure. But I did enjoy it. Like, it's not like it's a bad game. It just shows obviously its age.
A lot of people thought it was pretty bad, but like I've replayed it in the last 5 years. It's not terrible. Like for what it was, it's not bad.
It's one of those like, it's fun to play. Who cares? It's fine.
Yeah, like it's not going to blow you away, but it also was like more there to show like, okay, we're already pushing the PS2's limit here with this game.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I'm trying to. I don't think there's much else. So I mean, like, I asked the question already with the initial Embracer deal, but like, if say Square was ever to go with Sony, what's the first thing you'd want to work on? I think I know the answer, but I got to ask it.
I mean, definitely a Chrono, and then.
But the question is, would you want them to remake Trigger, or would you want them to do a new one?
I would want a new one, I think.
Because there is an interest of like if they took Chrono Trigger and kind of did it in like what Dragon Quest currently is at in that graphical style. Because I mean, to be fair, it's the same artist. It's Akira Toriyama, so it would work.
Thing. Oh, fuck. Actually, yeah. You know, I mean, I want both. Like, let's be honest. I want a remake of the original and a new one. I want both, but I would be happy with either. Actually, I'll just say that. I can't even pick one.
I mean, if I had to choose between one or the other, I want the remake first because you might hate me for this. I don't think I've actually played the entire game in full.
Okay. I have played through the game in full like 100 times.
I never had a physical copy of it growing up, and it's just one of those things that passed me by. So I've played it a bunch. Like, I can tell you, like, I know that I've gotten every character except Magus. I think wherever you get to like the point where you can recruit Magus is where I never get to.
Okay.
But I know I've recruited like Ayla and in that level. So I know I've gotten to that point, but like it's for some reason it's one of those games that like the shiny thing always takes me away. But that's also the problem with playing games like retro. It's very easy to get coaxed away by the new thing again.
100%. You look at Chrono and then you see like the new Guardians of the Galaxy game. You're going to be like, okay, one of these is very,
Well, it
very
was probably
pretty.
more like Persona 5 or no, Persona 4 or something. That's probably the era that would have
Okay.
been where I last tried to play Trigger.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense.
So yeah, there's always something else. But yeah, like the Embracer thing is great because I think it gets a lot of properties away from Square because Square has a history of saying that no matter how many copies a game sells, it did a shit job.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be good for those studios to potentially, work under an owner that's not going to literally like slap the shit out of them constantly because they didn't sell 10,000 billion copies.
High expectations.
And then if there is truth to Square being sold off to Sony, I mean, and this isn't just because I own a PlayStation, and I can say that now because I own an Xbox. So hey, I own both.
Yeah.
I think if it was to happen, it'd be the best case scenario because I think Square is similar to what I look at, I'm going to nerd out a little bit as a wrestling fan. A WWE has become a company that makes money in spite of itself. WWE is doing better than it ever has, but like most wrestling fans say the product is not the same. And I think a lot of Square Enix fans would say a similar thing of like, look, they're still doing really well for some reason, but like I don't love them the same way I used to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not to say that they don't make great stuff. Kingdom Hearts 3 was amazing. Final Fantasy 15, despite what we say about it, had a really good, promising start. Like, it looked amazing. Final Fantasy 14 is legitimately the best MMO out right now, which is insane to say because it was thought impossible that anybody could ever kill Warcraft.
Yeah.
But, like,
Final Fantasy
14 is very much better than WoW right now.
Oh, very, very much.
Which is insane to me.
Yeah.
And that was a game that initially released to absolute destruction to the point that they had to kill the game off, apologize to their fan base, and then remake the game from scratch where they actually show how they killed off the entire story to rebuild this world. Hence why it's called Final Fantasy 14, A New World or was it A Realm Reborn? Yeah,
A Realm Reborn, yeah. They literally had to put it in the name like, hey, we're starting over. Sorry.
So it's not to say that Square isn't still good, but they aren't the legend that they used to be. We grew up, like me and Chris, we grew up with like Final Fantasy 2 and 3, which is 4 and 6, because again, everything was complicated back then. Then a lot of people plus us grew up with 7 and 8 and 9. Then more people grew up with 10 and really liked that. And then people started growing up with 12 and went, oh, this is fine. And then 13. And I know there's a lot of people that really like 13, but like the people that have been carried since have been like, guys, we're still here.
Yeah.
Make something that we like too, please.
Yeah. And hot take, I don't hate 13, but it's not a Final Fantasy game. If it was anything else, a different property, I'd still be like, okay, this was fun hallway simulator with pretty graphics, the game.
Yeah. They honestly could have called it, I don't know, lightning to darkness. I don't fucking know.
I mean, sure.
I mean, darkness is always a theme in Japanese games, so it would probably work. But other than that, like, I hope it's true because I think they need like another voice in their head to be like, hey guys, you know what you when you used to be like the best?
Yeah, we're gonna do that again. We're gonna do that because Sony, luckily. I don't know how they've done it, but like they've managed to hold on to their greatness. You know what I mean? PS3, it was like, this may not go great, but they came back. They were like, we fucked up. Let's fix this. Their IPs are great, even the ones they come back to. They modernize them, or whatever. Like they're not stuck, but they don't screw over the franchises that made them who they are. There's a couple they've let go, like Legend of Dragoon and stuff like that, just is gone, but. For the most part, you take the God of Wars, you take like that kind of stuff. Even Everybody's Golf, which I've been playing, like I know that's clap hands, but it's like an exclusive for PlayStation. Like they've held on, you know. So I think that they aren't afraid of their own history and what made them great, and they would be able to apply that same logic, hopefully, to Square.
So what you're saying is they're gonna go to Square and be like, hey guys, come here, because greatness awaits.
Oh, that was so good. There's no way that wasn't great.
Well, you know what isn't great? As we take aside to make fun of another company, So, Ubisoft now apparently can't handle the Herculean task of remaking The Sands of Time. Apparently, a pretty straightforward PlayStation 2 platformer is too much work.
Yeah, I don't get it. What is taking so long?
So this is the direct statement from the Prince of Persia Twitter account, which I assume comes through Ubisoft. Hello, Prince of Persia fans. All like 7 of you left after we pissed away everything.
Yeah.
The last part was in very small text in brackets. Okay, we'll just go with that. The development of Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake will now be led by Ubisoft Montreal, the very birthplace of the epic Sands of Time trilogy, which is an interesting thing to say when you pawned it off to 2 other studios initially and clearly popped out a bunch of footage that didn't look very good. Why didn't you just do that in the first place? But I digress.
Yep.
This decision is an important step in the team building upon the work achieved by Ubisoft Pune or Pune. I don't know. It's spelled Pune. Pune? I don't know. And Ubisoft Mumbai will now take the time they need to regroup on the scope of the game to deliver you the best experience for this remake of an all-time classic when it's ready. Again, I'm going to ask the question, Ubisoft. I'm not going to be against you trying to like get other studios some work, but you literally still have a studio that made this game in your employ. Why didn't you just use them? It's not assuming that like the entire team that worked on Sands of Time are still there, but somebody has to be.
Yeah, there's got to be somebody who knows how to do that. Somebody.
Or at the very least, I've learned that remakes are in this state now where that one of 2 things happen. They're either amazing, like, say, a Final Fantasy VII remake, or they're the other half, which seems to be more than half now, which is they pawn them off to a studio that's never really made a game before and then give them a license that fans are really, really hopeful they can get more of. And then it sucks, and then the fans now essentially hate the thing that they used to love.
Yep.
And I don't really want to spend that much time on Ubisoft because I don't care. Ubisoft's been dead to me for quite some time now since the sexual harassment scandal that they went through.
Well, that was huge.
But I want to ask this question instead. Are we getting way too many remakes now?
I mean, I think yes. Only
because I should follow up. Are we getting too many remakes, or is it just that most remakes are not being done well?
So, okay. Actually, yes, that's a very good point, because a lot of the remakes, even remasters, as we've seen...
Chrono Cross.
Not,
Sorry, Square, I couldn't help.
Yeah, just not going well. It's like... It's almost like, would a remake be easier at this point? Is that what's wrong? You guys can't remaster the old code? I don't know. So I think that a lot of the remakes aren't being done well, and that's probably the main part of it. I think that we are going to get to the point with remakes too, that first, like Sands of Time, don't get me wrong, great game, but I don't know of anybody who was like, remake this, we need this, I want it back.
I mean, personally, I'm okay with anything that's 3 generations back. Like, for example, The Last of Us remaster was pointless. Like, I didn't understand that.
No, that's
I think when you're 3 eras back, like, I think remaking anything from PS2 beyond, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
Because it's old enough that it could use that fresh coat of paint. It also depends on what that thing is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think just as a whole, though, the problem just lies in the fact that most of these games come out to, like, crickets or just mild fanfare. Like, there's not, like, for every Final Fantasy VII remake, there's the Chrono Cross remaster, or there's
Grand Theft Auto 3 collection.
Yeah, that would be one of them. There's also things like the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes, which have been very good. So, like, it's not to say that there aren't bad ones. And I think you could make a case that at this current juncture, we'd be okay with, like, a crap ton of remakes if they were all pretty high quality. But since a lot of them aren't, because companies are pretty aware that nostalgia sells, they don't really need to try that hard.
Exactly.
But then we also see cases like, look how well Resident Evil 2 and 3 did, and look at Final Fantasy VII Remake. It did so well. And if it did really, like, if it was a bad game, we all would have never thought about buying the new one. And right now, like, there is now I feel like there's an even bigger impatience for the second part now than there was about the initial remake.
Yeah, 100%. Because of, well, everything in it. Yeah,
Like
that's just got me
it
excited for a
shows,
sequel.
and I've said this on so many different occasions on not maybe not this show, but on Pixel Play and very other things that I've done over the course of my YouTube lifespan. That isn't it amazing that when you actually put love and care in something that it actually does really, really well and people want more of it?
Yeah, there was a reason that you take like the original Chrono Trigger and they got together like a dream team of developers and artists, whether it was for like the actual like anime art or the music, and like the dream team of people they got to work on that. Like they poured their heart into all of these things and they did well and were well made because they cared so much. Whereas, yes, you can tell now. You take like the Grand Theft Auto or Chrono Cross, they're not putting they don't actually care. They're not putting love and putting their actual effort into it. Because if they did, it would have been better, and they would have got the rewards from it. They're just hoping to make enough that the nostalgia sells instead of actually making something that's very good and would sell way more.
And you can almost tell with the price tag immediately
Yeah.
because the Grand Theft Auto Collection was a pretty high price. The Chrono Cross remaster was a decently high price. It's going to be interesting when Sonic Origins comes out because it is technically a remastering, but it's also under a different name, so maybe it's different, but it is a hefty price tag for basically a bunch of Genesis games.
Yeah.
And I guess a Saturn game. Wait, no, Sega CD game, sorry.
Sega CD, yeah.
But like, I think that's almost the true test. Like, the dollar point usually is a pretty good indicator, especially if it's a remaster and it's really expensive. That's a real red flag.
Yeah. Yeah, because like you take Resident Evil 2 got remade. They made that game from the ground up. Obviously, it's a remake. And like if you were to make a game like that, they actually made it similar price. I don't remember it being like $80 or anything like
I
that.
think it was like the 60 point, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was like it was.
And we're talking
up there.
Canadian, by the way, so it's probably more like 50 US.
Yeah, yeah, and it was reasonable for what the product was. And it's not like it wasn't long before it was 50% off, 25% off,
Yeah.
all of the different discounts that came out. So that made sense. But for the same price to apply to a Sonic Origins, which maybe had some love put into it, I don't think by Sega, but just because they brought in the Sonic Mania people and they probably put love into it because they actually care about the product. Like I don't know, I just feel like these gaming companies are going to start going the way of Hollywood, where nostalgia sells, and they won't necessarily have to put in the effort. Just follow a formula, put it out where it's now updated graphics in the sense that it's widescreen and 4K. Make a fast forward or in a slow down feature, and then release it, and you'll make enough money that you'll make your money back.
I mean, if you want to go that route, I mean, can I just suggest the Marvel formula? Because look, a lot of people complain that Marvel is very copy and pasty, but hey, it still feels like there's love and care into what they do with that.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're not going to spoil anything, but we both watched Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness last night, and we exited that theater not going, oh god, I have had enough of Marvel movies. We all went being like, that was really fucking good.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Is it similar to what most Marvel movies are? Yeah, it's still a lot of quipping. It's still a lot of like intense, like musical, like big moments. Like it's a summer blockbuster every single time. But you also don't leave that theater thinking that they just brought you in on a license and got you to sucker into $15.
Yeah, that would be like the
it's not
Morbius
like what
movie.
you watch with, say, not the newest Suicide Squad, but like the original Suicide Squad that came out, or like Batman v Superman, or even Justice League. Like it really is that like Marvel versus DC is almost a great comparison of what a good remake versus a bad one looks like. It's showing where there's obviously Marvel intends to make a crap ton of money with these games or with these films, but they're also still like, hey, let's have some fun with this. Let's actually get people on the project that actually, like the thing that they're doing, instead of putting a bunch of people on there that just want to make money doing this thing.
Exactly. And I think that's the difference right there.
Because, I mean, look, you can remake whatever game you want. Like, let's remake Parappa the Rappa. I don't care. But if you put the right people behind it, it's probably going to be pretty good. The same would go for anything else that we really love. Like, if a Chrono Trigger remake got done, and it was done by the same guys who do, like, Dragon Quest, and it's the team or people that, like, really like that original game and want to make it look better. Because it's not to say there aren't people that are remaking Sands of Time right now, because that's where this conversation stemmed from. I'm sure there's a lot of people there that probably really like that game, And maybe even for some people on that staff, it's the reason they got into game development in the first place. But the people at the top making the decisions don't care about that.
No.
They just see the money. And sometimes you can luck into a really solid game even when you're just going for money, but it is certainly a lot easier to generate a money-generating game when you go in with the hopes of making money, the expectations of making money, but still wanting to push a good product out the door.
Yes. And that last one is where a lot of remasters, they just shit the bed. That's where it is. The love is not there.
Yeah, as depressing as it is, we must move on to the always happy, depressing stage of finding out how old we are. Chris's favorite point in the podcast, this week in We're Old. Now we're getting an extra day this week because we're recording on Friday because Doctor Strange took away podcast time on Thursday. So you guys are getting a free day, which means next week you're getting one less day. I'm not sorry about this.
Yeah, we're not sorry.
I could have just done the Thursday list, but no, I don't want to because my OCD will not allow that. So anyways, Friday, April the 20th, I almost said May. April the 29th, we have one game, 1997 on PC in North America, Star Wars X-Wing versus TIE Fighter.
Oh, yeah. I just saw that on sale for May the 4th. I almost grabbed it. It was like $1.78.
Was that like GOG? Because I think that's where I would normally find that. I mean, I'm sure Steam has it too.
No, they have a lot of the old Star Wars games on Steam with like the original graphics and everything. And it's crazy looking at them because it's like, whoa.
It's like
this is what games.
There's a lot of them because I didn't really wasn't a PC gamer back then, but like I missed out on so much. Like Jedi Outcast, I've never played.
Yep.
So like,
there was a lot of good Star Wars PC games back then.
Like realistically, I wasn't playing Star Wars games except for like maybe Super Star Wars and the Super Nintendo, and then it took all the way until like, well, there's Rogue Squadron on the 64, but like really, I wasn't like heavy into Star Wars games until like Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a big. You missed a lot.
Yeah, it's just kind of how it is sometimes. I mean, again, there wasn't a Star Wars JRPG, so I guess I wasn't going too deep into that category. So,
I would have loved a Star Wars JRPG.
It would make, honestly, it would work out pretty good. That's a lot of force powers. There's your magic right there.
Yeah. FP instead of MP.
So, anyways, 6 games for the 30th. It's still a decent list, but it is not that list of 8 that we had from last week. But 2002 originally came out November 1st, 2001 on the PS2, but in North America for Xbox and GameCube, which is interesting because you would have figured Xbox would have got it at the same time, but they did not. The original Burnout, which is, speaking of games that should get brought back.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think Burnout Paradise was the last one I played.
Yeah, and it's even to the point that got a remaster before we've seen anything else.
Yeah. Wow.
We also get into the remake things because this game was originally released in March of 1996, but on the GameCube in North America, we had that Resident Evil remake.
Oh, wow. They're already remaking games even then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm trying to think, was that even really a big thing back then? Not really.
No, I don't think so.
It really wasn't that often that would happen. You would see like ports, like sometimes they would get like an older game would get ported, like you'd have like say Final Fantasy Anthology, but there were never like remakes.
Yeah, they were just porting them for like the newer consoles because there was no backwards compatibility for any system.
Yeah,
at all.
Let's see. Originally in July 22 of 1999 in Japan, but for North America, this is a bit of an offshoot, but because I'm a big Mega Man Legends guy, I still appreciate it. But The Misadventures of Tron-Bon on the original PlayStation, which I have not played, but goddamn, I'll take any excuse. Another thing that I wish would get brought back, Mega Man frickin' Legends. I think I might have talked about it on the show already, but yes, bring it back.
Yes, you've definitely, and yes, they need to.
But now we get into something that we all definitely will remember. It wasn't officially out for us yet, but originally released in Japan for the N64, Pokemon Stadium.
Ooh, that was fun. I liked that game. That was fun.
Now, here's my favorite question. What do you like more of a Pokemon Stadium when you were playing it as a well, I don't know if you were a kid when that came out because you're a little bit older than me, but when you were first playing that game, what did you like more, playing the actual game or the mini games?
Oh, mini games, 100%.
Yeah, that was going to say.
Yeah. N64, like Mario Party was coming out and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was basically like playing Pokemon Party.
Yeah, the mini games just like it was the system had 4 controllers. It was built for like mini games,
Oh yeah.
right? It totally was.
My favorite one, because I was a nerd and just super brainy, was the counting one in Pokemon Stadium 2, where you had to count like all like the
Oh,
eggs and or the cakes and
counting.
shit. I think it was.
I think they may have been cakes. I guess they were. I can't. Yeah, maybe.
Or
I can't
I
remember
think
what
there
they
was
were,
also
but I
one where
do
there would
remember
be
the game.
like ferrets running around or something like that, where you just have to count like all the specific Pokemon that ran past.
Oh gosh, wow, this is bringing back memories. Yeah, I totally
Or the
forgot about those
trivia.
two.
I always love Pokemon
Oh,
trivia.
trivia. Yeah, I remember the trivia. Yeah, I did that one a lot.
Also, 1998, officially released for arcades in Japan in November 29th of 1996, but for the PS2 in North America, we first got our look at Tekken.
Wow. Wait, what year?
1998.
Oh, 1998. Okay, that
I
makes sense.
wonder if it might have been elsewhere before in North America, but PS2 was its initial release date.
Wow. It's
And then
crazy.
lastly, on this day, or not this day, on the 30th of April, originally released December 20th in 1996 in Japan, but for us on the PlayStation 1 here in North America in 1997, Wild Arms, the first game of that series.
Oh, Wild Arms. Wow.
Which
Gosh, that was
I
actually.
don't know if I want that game series to make a comeback, because if you play like some of the last ones they did, they're not great. Like Wild Arms was always like the middling JRPG.
Yeah, it was like it was if there was no other JRPGs coming out for a while, it was one that you'd get and play.
Like it was neat because it was a Western RPG, like literally a
Yeah.
Western JRPG, because it was
Yeah.
the Wild West.
I think I rented that one a bunch, but I
I
never
played Wild
bought
Arms
it.
5, like the newest one. I played Wild Arms 5 a bunch, and it was fine, but like it wasn't like compared to like as a guy who was playing like Shadow Hearts, Persona, Final Fantasy, like it just wasn't the same level.
No, not even close.
So we move on to May the 1st, 2002. I'm actually surprised it's only this old. It feels like it was an older game, but no. In North America for the PC, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind.
2002. Oh no, I guess that makes sense because I remember that was brought to Xbox, and it was like the first time that game was brought to console because it was PC exclusive. I think.
But yeah, like
But yeah, wow,
I looked at that
2002.
release date and I verified it because I'm like, really? It's only that old? It's only 20 years old? Really?
Yeah,
Because
because
like
we're so
you're
used
so
to
used to like
Skyrim.
Skyrim existing for like
Yeah,
a billion years, and Oblivion was already out a long time ago. Like you just assume.
yeah. There's like 10 years apart for every single release. That's the only way that would make sense.
I think that's like the part of me that realizes that I'm not as old as I think I am, because I feel like the PS2 was like 50 years ago,
Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't.
where in reality it's more like 20-ish, depending on how
Yeah,
far you go back. It's not actually that bad. Don't worry,
yeah.
we'll get there soon.
And even then, 20's like the start of the PS2 era.
Yeah,
So you get like it's only about 15 years back if you're like near the end of it.
exactly. We talked about this specific game earlier when we were talking about the Square sale potentially, but originally released on October 6th of 1995 in Japan for the Super Nintendo, but we got this on PS1, Tactics Ogre in 1998.
Oh yeah. Oh, gotta bring that back. I need. Is there? I don't think there's more. I need that. I love tactics.
Well, there was
games.
the rumor going around that it was trademarked somewhere, so there was the possibility.
That's what it was. Yeah.
We may have even talked about it here. I'm not sure. We might have.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the
probably
first
did.
things we talked about. But anyways, because I keep loving bringing this joke back, in 1984 in Japan for the NES, golf. We now have soccer, baseball, and golf. And I think we're starting to run out.
Oh, I actually played that golf game a bunch. Is that the one on the front? Mario's on the front.
I think so, yeah. Where it's
Yeah. Or was that called like NES golf? Or no, I assume it was just called golf.
hard to say. I don't remember
Yeah.
too hard about it, but
Yeah. Oh, golf games. I love golf games. They're one of my favorite sports.
yeah, I'm not
games.
gonna lie. Like, I kind of miss like the cheesy golf games. Like, do you remember Outlaw Golf?
Oh yeah. Those outlaws just totally went and played golf for some reason.
Where it was like basically like if you took like like it was almost like BMX XXX did like a golf
Yeah.
game without the
Yeah.
actual nudity.
Yeah, it was so sexualized, and they're outlaws, but they're golfing.
And it's actually the reason that I'm a fan of comedian Dave Attell, because he's the commentator in that game.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Actually, I don't even know if I knew that, or it just makes sense.
I would love to see that game come back, but there's no way it could now. There's not with
No.
how crass that thing is. No.
No, not at all.
Monday, May the 2nd, or I guess it wouldn't be Monday, it'd just be May the 2nd. It was not Monday every single time this day happened. It's not how years work. In 2000, in North America for the N64, it was an original release date. It's not a game that came in Japan first, which I was actually surprised by, but Excitebike 64 was first released in 2000 on this day.
Wow, I forgot they made an Excitebike for 64. Wow.
We all just remember it because it's like a thing that happens now in Smash.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Or is like a mini game in like that Nintendo like mini game like quick like almost like a WarioWare copy thing, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Or it'll have like a Mario Kart circuit dedicated to Excitebike.
Yeah. And then also in 1995, original release date for PC and Macintosh computers in North America, Full Throttle, which was I believe like a motorcycle gang level game that was made by what was it? Double Fine, I think.
Double Fine. Yep. Yeah, it was a Double Fine game. Yeah. Wow. I forgot how far back they go. That's crazy.
But yeah, that's that day. The biggest day I think of this week, unless I pull up the rest of the list and find something different, but not for us, but for Europe, this is a pretty big day on May the 3rd. Because in 2002, GameCube officially launched in Europe.
Oh, wow.
So that included games like Luigi's Mansion, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2, and many, many others. For those wanting to know when they launched initially in other countries, it was initially launched in September 14th of 2001 in Japan. We got it in November 18th. Mm-hmm. So it took quite a while for Europe to get it. It took another, what would that be, like 7 months?
Yeah, that's about 7 months. That's crazy. I didn't realize that they had to wait that long.
Europe has always been weird on dates. Like, for some reason, even though like they're technically closer.
Yeah, right. Like the shipping time should be a little bit
there's
less.
No massive body of ocean between them.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, by distance, they may not be closer. They might be just because of like some weird corner of Europe that kind of sticks out in there, but
yeah, that
in terms of what we assume it means, because Europe generally, when people say Europe release dates, we think like France, Britain, Germany, Spain, like that era, not like the real far east side of Europe.
Or whatever, it was just harder for Europe because there's like so many countries there and different laws and rules because each country have their own.
That's probably a big
North America is like 3 countries.
Well,
like,
and all the languages, right?
Yeah, and all the and so we've got like 3 languages.
We got 3 more dates here. So May the 4th. These are all one game dates, so we can fly through this quickly. I like this one because it has no one probably ever played this game unless it was for one very specific reason. So in North America on the PlayStation 1 in 1999, Urge's God Bless the Ring, which people only bought because fucking Cloud was on the cover.
Oh my god, I bought that.
It was
that fighting game?
Yeah, it was a fighting game that Cloud just happened to be in. And it is a dog shit fighting game.
I bought it. It was so bad. I did buy it because of exactly the reason you're saying. Cloud and I think Sephiroth may have been.
He may have been, but I don't remember. But it was. But Cloud was definitely on the cover.
Yeah, he was in the intro trailer too. I think they were like, "We got to go full in on this guy."
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that.
May the 5th, which would have been our last day, but that's not how Doctor Strange works. In the U.S., specifically the U.S., on PC, 1992, legend, absolute legend. Wolfenstein 3D.
Oh wow, that
you thought I was going to put a jokey one in there, didn't you?
I did because I'm like, no, he doesn't say legend unless it's going to be like Barbie's multiverse of makeup or something. I don't know.
There have been, as somebody who's been making lists, there have been several Barbie games, and I've been tempted to put them on there, and I go, no, there's enough jokes already. I don't need to do that.
Yeah, the show's funny enough.
But lastly, on the actual day we're recording right now, the 6th of May, obviously this is coming out on the 7th, but hey, you know, you'll get to see that another day. You know what? I probably should get in the habit of just doing, you know what? We're turning over a new leaf. We're actually going to do up till the day the actual video and podcast is coming out. Let's start doing that.
That makes sense.
Why did I not think of doing this in the first place?
Because that's not how time travel works.
I guess because technically it'd be weird saying, hey, 2 days from now is this game's birthday, but you guys don't know this 2 days from now. For all you know, you're listening to this in 5 years, and I'm not sure why you're listening to episode 6 of this show, but hey, I'm not.
You gotta start at the beginning. They gotta get to know us.
So anyways,
Hello,
I guess
future.
the second last day we're doing In 2001, originally released in December 7th of 2000 in Japan, but for the N64 in North America, we got Mario Party 3, aka the third of many games that made you hate your friends for a momentary lapse of time.
Oh yeah, that's so many fights I got into. So many. Just arguments about stupid crap.
So ironically enough, on the day that this episode is being released, May the 7th, there is a second Tactics Ogre on this list. Originally released June 21st in 2001 in Japan, but in 2002 in North America for the Game Boy Advance, it was Tactics Ogre's The Knights of Lotus.
Oh, there was a Game Boy Advance game. I never played that one. Oh,
and then your personal favorite on this list.
Uh-oh.
And the bane of my existence. Original release date in 2001 for PC and Macintosh computers. Myst 3 Exile.
Yes! Go Myst. Oh, it's such an achievement for PC. I'm not going to lie. Myst actually is fucking annoying to play. It's really hard to figure out what to do. I appreciate it for what it is, but it's not for the faint of heart or like somebody who doesn't mind being very confused. If you wanted to reenact being dropped in an island that's very confusing and you literally don't know what to do, the game does a good job of making you feel like that in real life.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that is This Week in World. Chris, we're nearing the end of the show, and you know what that means.
We're wrapping up. All right, thanks everybody.
Now, initially, I said last episode I was going to save this for the next time we talked about Square, and I guess they heard us, so I guess we're going to finish that second half of that Japan survey for Final Fantasy that we did from last week.
Oh, that was so hard.
So I'm going to have to be a little bit nicer, because now we're into the other two that are going to be a little more difficult to do.
Okay.
So we're going to start off with what I think is extremely hard.
Of course, we're going to go with the hardest first. That's fine.
Fine.
Start hard.
I'm going to give you up to 5 mistakes, but this time I'm going to give you a little bit more breathing room. I'm going to give you the top 20. Now, remember, This isn't just bosses. This is also including summons.
Uh-oh. Okay.
So you'll have to put your real thinking cap on here.
Okay, so favorite bosses, favorite
keep
summons?
In mind to those either listening or watching the show, I may have to pause for a moment to verify a guess, because some of them didn't translate very well into English, because this is from a Japanese website. This is directly from their survey. So some of the names do not translate very well. So I will try my best. There's also a few on this list that I'm actually really surprised are as high as they are, but we'll see how this goes.
So bosses and summons.
Yes.
Oh, why'd they have to mix them into together?
Because they hate you. Remember, we're talking about Square.
That's true.
It's technically Square didn't do the survey, so it's technically not them, but it's by proxy, right? So
by proxy, yeah. All right, so I'm going to go with Ifrit or Ifrit, depending on how you say that one.
I'm hoping I'm not passing it. It may not be anywhere close on this list.
Oh,
it actually is not.
Okay, great. This is already horrible. Okay. So that's 1X. Okay, Shiva.
Yes, Shiva specific, because she's on multiple times, by the way. So they're actually picking the specific models for some of these. But the one that is put up the highest is the Final Fantasy X one, and that one is 11th in the top 20.
Holy crap. Okay. Ultros? He's gotta be in
Surprisingly, no.
Oh my god. All right, so
you want to know something really funny? You know who's ahead of him?
Who?
Mr. Typhoon.
What?
I'm looking, and he's nowhere near on this list. He's nowhere.
But Mr. Typhoon is higher than
I'm trying to
Ultros.
find him. I'm actually legitimately trying to find where he is, and I'm hoping I'm not passing him. Because I did before the show verify to make sure the Japanese translations amounted to something, so I do actually know if Ultros is on that list, because I looked initially. And I'm scrolling, and I don't see him unless I haven't checked all of the 100, things they put on this list. By the way, I finally found Ifrit for the first time. He was 80th.
Oh my god.
But I'm not seeing Ultros directly. So,
okay,
let me do a find before I continue on, because now I'm actually curious myself. It's not showing up, which means it's probably wrongly translated, which is why I'm not probably finding it. So if I quickly search for VI, what do I find here? This is going to be difficult because, actually, if I search the year, because they do put the year, that might help me. Let's see if I can get this a little bit better.
He's number 1. You're just not telling me.
I'm at 150 and I'm still not seeing him. So unless it's a bad translation, he's not remotely on this list, which is shocking.
Oh, this is all right. So far, only Shiva's on the list, and multiple times. So Japan is into hot.
Remember from what I'll even give you a little bit of help here. So remember when we were doing the series, this was the top 10 of their games. So from 10 up, it was 15, 11, 4, 8, 5, and then top 5 was 14, 9, 6, 7, and 10. So keep in mind of that because it does translate quite a bit on this list.
Okay. And this includes bosses, right?
Yeah, it's bosses and summons.
So bosses like Sephiroth, would like Sephiroth be on there as a boss?
Is 10th, so yes.
Okay, so he's on there. That makes sense. Kefka. I've got to assume.
Kefka is second.
Oh, nice.
I'll give you a hint. The number 1 is a summon.
Okay, number 1 is a summon. What? That's not cheap.
So ironically enough, I would have thought with a boss and summon thing that number 1 would have to be a boss, but no, it's a summon.
Okay. What? That's so weird. Trying to think of what summon would have been really, really, really popular. Probably in 10. Because they really like 10. But then
when you really sit down and think about this list, like as somebody who's now gone through this list, I'm genuinely surprised by some of the names that are on here. It is actually really shocking.
Okay, for summon, I'm gonna put Bahamut or however you say that.
How do I want to go about this? Can you give me a second one? Because there's 2 on this list.
2 Bahamuts are on there?
Yes.
You mean? And you want to know like which game or which?
No, because there's name. Because I'll give so Bahamut
like
from
Neo
10
Bahamut 0.
Yeah, okay. I'll just give you both because it's really because it would be crazy if I asked you to give me specific games. But Bahamut from 10 is 12th, and Bahamut 0 from 7 is 8th.
Okay. Not as high as I thought.
So to help you out, that means Shiva is off the table now. That means Bahamut is off the table now. So I've gotten all those out.
What the frick? I'm missing like one of the... Knights of the Round.
Yes, Knights of the Round is number 1.
There we go. I'm like, I'm missing a big one. I feel it. And yes, that's... Yeah.
So you've got...
That was an annoying
I want to say, I think like 5 or 6 total with 2 mistakes now.
Okay, and this is actually where I'm running out of bosses and stuff. Okay. Oh, what? No, I can't go there yet. Oh, I did. Okay, wasn't on. I feel like when we did this last week, like Jet was like loved. Is he a boss? Is he on there?
So what would that be specifically?
Oh, what does he turn into? Turns into something. I can't remember what his name was.
But you're talking about his boss, right?
Yeah, his boss.
So Braska's Final Aeon?
Yes.
That is 7th.
Nice. Yes, I meant him whenever thing, and then they played that metal
Or as
song.
the translation came, the ultimate summon of Braska.
Oh, that's even better. That's even better. All right. So far, so good.
I'll let you know that too. Once we get every guess, I'll give you like a hint of 1. So every mistake that you make, I'll give you a hint of 1 of them on the list to kind of help this to go.
All right, so I'm going to go with... Oh my gosh, I'm drawing blanks here. Like who... Like if I think of 13, who even was the boss? Why am I drawing a blank with this? Oh, it was that stupid... No, there's no way anybody cares about that guy. All right, fine, I'll go with it. The final boss of 13, the like... head the leader of the not summons. What the heck were they called in that game? Were they called summons? I don't remember his name, but it was the old guy that turned into the giant crazy final boss.
Well, I can help you with that. There is a 13 on this list, but it is not that.
Dang it. So it's probably a summon. Was there summons in 13?
Yeah, because you had like all the specific ones.
Oh, they became like a vehicle or something that you'd use.
So I'll give you a hint for one of them. Let's see. Let me find one of the ones here. Um. Okay, I'll give you this one. It is a boss from 6.
Okay. Boss from 6.
So you think of like what's a memorable boss from 6?
So Ultras, which nobody cares about apparently. And then what was like the final boss? Was that just considered Kefka?
Kefka, yeah, is considered like that entire final boss.
Okay. A final boss, a boss in 6 that's not Ultros or Kefka. Dun, dun, dun. I'm drawing a blank. I'm trying to think of
To add the extra bit of hint there. It's a very meme boss that's been done over the years.
a mean boss that's been done
like
over
meme, like meme.
Oh, meme.
Like it's a boss that like people love to. You know, I'll even go a step further. People like literally donate for this specific boss to be done in a specific way for SGDQ or GDQ as a whole.
I'm not remembering them. Shoot. I don't think I saw this part of the Final Fantasy VI.
Now, you don't have to guess this specific boss. If you want to guess something else, it's fine. I was just throwing out a hint out there to give you something to work with.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who this could have been anyways. Like, because Go-Go was in it, but Gilgamesh wasn't in... Oh, Gilgamesh! Oh my god, just in general. Gilgamesh has to be. What the heck? How? He's in so many, and he has amazing music.
So that is your fourth incorrect answer. Oh. So... let's see. I will give you 2 hints to finish this off. So one of them, this is a Final Fantasy X boss and summon.
Mm-hmm.
And the other hint that I'll give you is one of the listed bosses from the 4 Fiends is on this list in Final Fantasy IV.
Okay. Like Rubicante or whatever his name is?
Rubicante is the 13th best.
Nice. And then Final Fantasy X boss/summon. The which also was a summon or a boss in 4, the 3, like the Mega Sisters. Are they on there?
That is your final incorrect answer. So, as I try to badly pronounce and remember what some of these are. So here is the top 20 in summons. So there is Yasumato from Final Fantasy 12.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Some of these are 14, but Titan, specifically the 14 summon for Titan is in there. Also, Omega, the boss from 14 is in here at 18.
Okay.
The 13 guess that was in there was Odin. That was Lightning's Eidolon.
Oh, yes.
X16th is the Final Fantasy VI boss I was trying to hint you at, because everybody wants to see you suplex a fucking train. So the Phantom Train is the 16th.
Phantom Train! How did I fucking not get that when you're like, it's the boss that's so memeable?
And here's where the translations are weird. So apparently the translation for the Japanese characters when Google tries to take it ended up just calling it rare. I don't know how that works. But then you get to the 15th one, which is even funnier translation. So this translated to Blind Spider, but it's actually Cloud of Darkness from 3.
Oh, wow. I didn't believe that 3 would be on there.
Well, again, remember, it's Japan, so there is that extra thing. So they grew up with that.
Yeah.
14th from 14, Tsukuyomi, I think is the pronunciation.
Okay, I don't remember that one.
13th was Rubicant. 12th was Bahamut, specifically from 10. 11th was Shiva from 10. 10th, this translated to Sephiroth, which is funny.
Sephiroth.
9th, okay, I'll try to help. I'll give you a hint. It's a very popular summon in 5 because it was like one of the first things you saw in 5. If you can remember that thing's name.
In 5.
Do you remember the name of that dragon?
No, I'm trying to remember. It's the one that's under the pirate ship. You're talking like Hydra or something? Sildra. Yes, that's what it was.
Sildra is 9th. Bahamut 0 from 7 is 8th. Braska's final summon from 10 and 7th. Here's the really... So when I gave you a hint, it's a summon and boss in 10, there are actually 2 of them in this list, in the top 6.
Oh, okay.
I'm shocked by both of these making this list, but here it is. Okay. So 6th is Valifor from 10.
What? Okay. That's got to be just nostalgia. I don't know what else.
5th is Omega from 5, which is a boss that I don't remember from 5.
It's
because I never really played a bunch of 5, so.
Yeah, it's a robot that's in the final dungeon, or yeah, in the final dungeon, and it's like the super boss. Super, super, super crazy gonna kill you boss if you're not very high level.
So then in fourth, again, 10, boss and summon. This was the biggest one because this was a secret boss. You didn't know that this was a summon you could get.
Mm-hmm.
It was Anima, aka Seymour's summon.
Oh yeah. Oh, that
AKA
one-eyed
the thing
monster
that
was
really looked
terrifying.
like it didn't belong in the rest of the
No.
game because it was terrifying.
Yeah, everything else was like a magical bird and it like looked magical and beautiful. And then that thing was just like hell
Well,
on
it
earth.
worked because that was Seymour's Aeon. It
Yes,
works.
as Seymour's it did work. This is true.
Also, no love for Yojimbo Japan, really?
Yeah, Yojimbo was pretty cool. I liked that one with this like weird dog thing.
In third was Hades from 14,
Hades, okay.
and then second was Kefka. First was Knights of the Round.
Yep, yep.
So
Okay.
now we get to the fun part:
Wait, that wasn't the fun part?
music.
Ooh, okay, okay, okay. I definitely have a better chance with this, I think.
You say that, but we'll find out.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm gonna only ask for the top 10, but I'll give you 5 guesses. And if you can give me the title, that's pretty much what I'm looking for here.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go Aerith's theme. That's gotta be
That is 7th.
7. That's 7th?
Yes.
Oh, this is not gonna be anywhere near as easy as I thought. Okay, the prelude.
From what? Oh, just like the main theme,
The main theme,
like
yeah.
the crystal theme.
Yeah, the crystal theme, sorry.
Yeah. So the original Final Fantasy prelude is 9th.
What? Oh my gosh. Okay. It's like You're Not Alone or something from Final Fantasy 9. I forget what that was called. Not Alone? Maybe it was just Not Alone.
There is a 9 track, but that's not the name. I'll give you one more
Okay.
chance if you can maybe translate it better. But
Something Rose.
okay, it's still
No.
not that.
No, okay.
But there is a 9 track on this list.
Okay. It's probably just that main theme, and I'm trying to remember what that was called. Somewhere or some no.
But there are obviously other things. There are still
Yeah, again.
7 other songs on this
Yeah.
list.
All right, Battle on the Big Bridge.
That is 2nd.
Nice. Okay.
Even people that have never played 5 before know that song.
Yep. Oh, what is? I don't know if this one's just called like Final Fantasy theme, but it's a theme that plays at the end of all of the games, but it was from the first.
Are you
game
talking
at
like the
beginning.
ba-na-na-na-na-na?
Yeah.
No, that is not on the list.
Okay. All right. Cool. Okay, so we've got Aerith's theme. I mean, I think it might just be called Final Fantasy VII theme, but I'm not sure if they actually had a name for that.
I'm actually going to Google it. It is literally just called main theme of Final Fantasy VII.
Yes, and I'm assuming it's not on the list because you had to Google it.
Yeah, so you know what? I won't give you that one. So you still have 2 mistakes, but we'll keep going.
Okay. Okay.
I'll give you a hint after the next mistake.
Okay, Final Fantasy VIII, Liberty, Fatali. No.
No.
How the hell is what? Ah.
So here's a hint, and you'll probably hate yourself because you haven't guessed this one yet, but you literally sang it earlier.
I sang it earlier. Like, okay.
During the boss and summon thing, you sang it for just a moment.
Oh, Sephiroth's theme, for sure. Or One Wing Angel.
Yes, that is
Yes.
6th.
That has to be on there. All right. There's that.
So at this point, you have 4. You have Battle of the Big Bridge, you have One Wing Angel, you have Aerith's theme, and you have the original Crystal Prelude from the first game.
Yes.
To give you just the extra bit, there's not copies on this, so it's not like the Prelude theme is on more than once.
Okay.
If it is, I'm not scrolling far enough down. Oh, actually, it is on more than once, but I don't care.
Okay, Final Fantasy IV.
Actually, you know what? It says main theme, so you know what the one that you thought it was earlier actually might be that, because the Prelude is listed at 18th. So either way, you would have gotten one of them wrong by guessing the Prelude. So either way, we're still in the right spot.
I'm going to go with the Red Wings theme.
No, it is not. So we're at 4 mistakes, so...
I think I got to go later. I think I'm going too early.
Let me see here. So there are 2 songs on this list that have vocals in them.
I was just gonna say
one of them has
Dene
actual
or whatever.
One of them actual has vocals. One of them does not. It's just more like laws and laws and stuff.
Okay. The Su Deki Ne, or I can't remember how to say it properly, from Final Fantasy X.
Suteki Dane.
Yes.
That is 11th.
Oh, what the hell? Okay. This game sucks.
So here is the top 10. And again, there are some weird ones on here. Or ones that, I'm not saying they're bad, but like I'm surprised that they made it over others. Because, for example, Dancing Mad is not on this list.
Oh, Dancing Mad. How did I not get that one on there? But I mean, it wasn't on the list.
But yeah, Suteki Dane is not on there. Decisive Battle from 6 is not on there. The Man with the Machine Gun's not on there. I understand Otherworld isn't on there, but Otherworld's so fucking good.
Otherworld is literally one of the best songs ever.
The Chocobo theme is not on the top 10.
Wow.
Chocobo theme is 29th.
Like,
Battle with the Four Fiends is not on. I'm still scrolling down. Oh, the Final Fantasy VII main theme is 31st.
What the?
Bombing Mission is not on this list. Awake, or no, that's the wrong one. Genova's theme is not on this list. The Red Wings is all the way down at 41. Is there anything else that'd be really interesting? At this point, I'm scrolling, and it's mostly okay. Yeah, I can understand these not making it. So the top 10 is as follows. So 10th, Final Fantasy VII's Those Who Fight Further.
Oh, okay. 9th, I mean, good, but wasn't expecting it in top 10.
9th was the main theme from 9, or from the original, sorry. 8th, the 9 one that I was talking about was Melodies of Life.
That's, okay, yeah.
7th was Era's theme. 6th was One Wing Angel. 5th, I'm not surprised because Japan seems to like 13 a lot, but Blinded by Light, I believe. The like main battle music of 13.
That's interesting. Like, I'm not saying the music in 13 was probably its best thing, but I wouldn't have picked that one.
So 4th place was Searching for Friends from 6. That's the overworld map song.
Yep, good one.
The first overworld map one, I should say. The one that had vocals in it was Eyes on Me from 8. That was 3rd.
Wow. I would not expect that one to be on there. 2nd
was Battle of on the Big Bridge. You did not get the first place one, so I'll give you one more guess at it. It is from 10. And I did mention some of the ones that didn't make the list, so that should help you narrow it down a little bit.
So it's not Second Day. It's not Overworld. Oh, Besaid Island.
No.
What?
It is At Xanarkand.
Oh, Xanarkand.
The opening piano.
The
opening piano theme is the number one favorite thing, according to Japan, which I'm surprised at that, but at the same time, it is a very beautiful piece.
It is very good. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't think of that.
I'm more or less just genuinely surprised that One Wing Angel didn't even hit top 5.
That yes.
Or the fact that the Crystal Prelude or the main theme weren't top 5 either. But then again, given like some of the tracks that you put above it, you're like, okay, I guess I can kind of see it. I mean, Eyes on Me, you might not think is like a major thing, but it is a song that people can listen to as a song and not just, you know, music in the background, right?
Yeah. Battle of the Big Bridge is hard to just like listen to on the subway and not like you're not just listening to music. It's battle music.
All right, so join us next week when we do the favorite NPCs. I wish
there's no way. There's no way. I don't know any of the NPCs.
Well, we know the correct answer. We know the number 1 is Interceptor Shadow's dog. I mean, come on. He's a good boy.
That is a very good one. He's the main character of the game. We all know that.
But yeah, I've tortured Chris enough with trying to figure out, you know, how much he loves Final Fantasy, which apparently is not that much.
Yeah, apparently not. Apparently, I mean, the fact that I didn't think of Xanarkand theme, it upsets me.
You know what we should do? In a good chunk of time, let's say like 2 to 3 months from now, you should do the same back to me and see how much I can guess, because I will not remember this list in a few months.
I say we do that, but I'm going to torture you by you're going to tell me the 70th to 80th most popular
NPC. Strago. I'm probably close. Actually,
you're probably so
just
close.
For the
you're
fun
going to get it.
How far back do I got to go? Okay, so let's see. 70th to 80th. Okay, no, Strago's going to be nowhere near that. That list still includes Dark Knight Cecil, Aranea from 15, Selfie, Steiner, Irvine, Rufus. Yeah, no,
How many characters are in these games? That's the 70s.
Like each game usually has more than 7 or 8, plus all the other characters. So let's see, where is actually Struggle on this list? Oh god, it might not translate well now that I think about it. All right, if I search IF, that'll probably help me a little bit. Oh no, it's gonna do a lot of 14. Oh wait, no, that's not. It's not 4. It's 6. You idiot. God. Brain. It's probably gonna go for a while because it's also putting in anything else that starts with VI.
Yep.
Well, we're only at Mog, so clearly it's way further down. Wow, Snow is... Oh my god, poor Snow is 119th.
Oh, Snow. He tried so hard.
Interceptor is... Okay, well, Interceptor's on the list, but above something, so okay, fine. Ooh, Gao is 131st. Aw, I like Fujin. I don't care what people say. Fujin was nice.
Fujin was good. Better than Gao.
Well, unless Strago's translated wrong, he's below Gogo, so that's not a good sign.
Oh, that's not good, because Gogo isn't even anything.
It may not be on...
Oh.
That can't be right. All right, hang on. I got to do a quick search. This is going to be how I end the show, because if this is... Japan, are you racist?
What just happened?
So, there is a tie for 198th, which means from 200 to 198, there's a tie.
Okay.
Barrett's there.
What?
Japan, are you racist?
Barrett is
Japan.
Iconic.
Japan.
Come on.
Are you racist? Japan.
He's a gun arm. One of the coolest characters ever. How is he so far down below Go-Go?
Okay, hang on. I gotta... Okay, I promise this is the last thing now, but this is confusing me, because it's not what I thought it was for a second there, but I need to translate this, because it's from 4, but it says Terra. I'm like, what the fuck is Terra in 4?
Terra in 4?
What is this translating to? Let's see. Oh, Tella.
Oh, Tella.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there goes my light. Light fell over. Well, that's probably got heard a little bit of a bang, but hey, that's how we're gonna end the show. So I'm suddenly a little blue on the screen, but hey, if you're not watching the YouTube version, it's fine.
I thought it was hilarious. I
hit the table so hard because I'm like, of course it's fucking Tella. But hey, I still look good. That's all that matters. At least the light didn't fall on me. That's the important thing.
This is true. It was Tella telling you you're a spoonie.
But 100%, we are going to come back to this and see how well I know Final Fantasy in a few months. 100% we will do that.
We're going to. As soon as Square gives us more news.
So next week we're going to do this. But with that being said, after we're nearly an hour and a half in here, this is a longer episode, but I really want to get those Square things in because I jokingly say that Square might do something again in the future, but just in case it doesn't happen for another 2 months, I want to make sure I got those 2 in. So that's going to do it for the show. Thank you so much for checking us out. So if you guys enjoy this, if you are listening to any audio platform, if you have the ability to give us any sort of a star rating or any sort of extra thing that can help us out here, leaving a comment, anything that can be done there, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, any of the above, that's where you listen to your podcast, where you can find us, please do so. Share it with all your friends, of course, too. There's also that part. You should be doing that. I don't know why you're not, but do it.
Sharing is caring.
Also on YouTube, obviously like the video that you are watching currently, because come on, do it. Why? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do it? And then obviously subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, which again, why haven't you? You should stop asking that question. But but other than that, if you guys want to check out anything else that's closer to us, whether it's our social media accounts, a link to our Discord, our email accounts, you can get all of that at linktree/pixelplaypodcast. That is linktr.ee/pixelplaypodcast. So with that being said, on behalf of myself and the Final Fantasy hater, Jin and Chris, clearly.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, it's me.
That is going to do it for episode 6. And when we get to episode Final Fantasy 7, we will see if Square continues to do its thing of not being able to stay out of the news the second we start a retro podcast because the mole continues to feed.
Yes.
So with that,
thank you, mole.
See you guys, and we'll see you next week for hopefully a less negative podcast.
Happiness?
All right, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.